What if I told you that the fear of success is more common than the fear of failure? 5 years ago, when I started my podcast, Manifest Daily, my first ever episode was about the fear of success. So today, I feel inspired to bring it back a little bit, tap into my nostalgia, if you will, and dive into this topic with you guys today. So if you are excited or curious, at least, to talk about the fear of success, grab a little beverage of choice, grab a little snack, and let's go ahead and dive into this video. But before we dive in, I want to just quickly introduce myself. My name is Dheandra Nicolette, and on my channel, you'll find videos like this where we're talking about life things, we're talking about books, sometimes I do vlogs, honestly, whatever I'm interested in and whatever lights me up. So go ahead and subscribe if you're interested in any of that, but let's go ahead and dive into today's topic where we're talking about the fear of success. So when we talk about the fear of success, we're not actually talking about the fear of the success itself, whatever that looks like and sounds like for you. We're actually talking about the fearing the consequences of what happens when we actually achieve what we want and become successful. There are a couple of different signs that you might be affected by the fear of success. One of those signs is procrastination. So putting off the things that you know you need to do in order to align yourself with that successful ending or that successful goal that you have in your mind. Another sign that you might be affected by this fear of success is self-sabotage, and that can show up in a multitude of ways, one of which definitely includes procrastination, but it can also look like picking fights, giving up on your dreams before you even start or begin, resisting change in your environment, different things like that. If you feel that you are unworthy of your success, like you don't deserve it, that can be another sign that you fear success. So you might just feel like, why do I actually deserve to have this thing? Or why do I deserve to live this type of reality? Why do I deserve to manifest my best life? And you might almost talk yourself out of thinking that you even have the ability to create the success that you want because you feel deep down that you are just simply not worthy of it. And another sign that you might be afraid of success is fearing the future and fearing what happens after you achieve said success. When I was thinking about filming this video and thinking about the outline, I actually ended up thinking about astrology. So if you're not familiar with astrology, please stick with me here. I promise it'll make sense in a second. In astrology, we have different planets, and these different planets rule different things. And I know apparently Pluto is no longer a planet, but for the sake of this, pretend it is, okay? Pluto rules over things like transformation, power, death and rebirth, sex, the taboo. It is associated with the sign Scorpio and also the 8th house in astrology. And when we think about Pluto and death and rebirth and transformation, we picture the quintessential phoenix that rises from the ashes, right? Someone that has gone through it in order to really come out on the other end completely transformed. We think about the caterpillar that goes into the cocoon in order to become the butterfly. And in all of these different stories about transformation, there's this understanding that in order to get to where you want to go, to become that phoenix that is rising from the ashes, to become that butterfly that is emerging from the cocoon, you are required to transform. You're required to change. And success is exactly that. Success is change. They go hand in hand. They are inevitable. When we talk about success, we have to talk about change and transformation. And what a lot of us are afraid to admit is that we fear change, right? There's something so comfortable about being in the same place at the same time always. There's something really comfortable about stagnancy. A lot of times people will do the same thing over and over again. They'll stay in a job that they don't like. They'll stay in a relationship that they don't like. They'll stay in a place that makes them feel so small and just minuscule in their life, not because they actually enjoy feeling small or feeling toxic in their relationship or job, but simply because they're used to it. And what lies on the other side is the unknown. On the other side of leaving the job or leaving the relationship or moving out of your hometown or moving to another country or doing something different, it means that you have to do something that you are not used to doing. It means that you have to confront the inevitability of change. It means that you have to step into the uncomfortable place of the unknown. When we talk about fear of success, we're talking about fear of change. We're talking about fear of transformation because there is no success without transformation of oneself. Speaking of transformation of oneself, one of the fears that is linked to the fear of success is this fear of losing yourself, right? So when we talk about transforming and changing and we talk about, going to the new job or new relationship or whatever the case is, there's this understanding that you must leave behind a version of yourself that you you once were and step into a new version of yourself in order to align with that reality. In our society, we often reference things like quarter life crisis or midlife crisis, or even, you're entering your 30s and there's a crisis, or you become a mom and there's a crisis, because you lose the sense of identity. You are no longer familiar with who you are anymore. And we talk about that as if it's a really bad thing. I know I've talked about that in that same way before, because it feels so confusing and it feels so scary to feel like you don't know who you are in this moment in time. But there's something really powerful about that particular moment, because it is a space where you have stepped away from a version of yourself that you're no longer aligned with, and you are in that period where you get to redefine who you are. You get to redefine how you show up in this world. You get to redefine what it is that you want, what your goals are, what your values are. Perhaps maybe you're changing to the very core of your being. And even though it is terrifying, right, to feel as if you have lost a version of yourself, to feel as if you don't know who you are, it's also extremely liberating and also extremely empowering to be in a position where you get to redefine who you are. I think we don't talk about that enough with success, right? If we want to achieve the success, whatever that looks like and means for us, it means that we have to change in some way, shape, or form a part of who we are. It doesn't mean that you're fake, and it doesn't mean that you are just not you anymore, but it means that you are allowing yourself the space to evolve into a new version of yourself. It's sort of like if you think about yourself in a box, which I don't like this because I don't want to put us in boxes, but just for the sake of this visual, imagine that you're in a box, right? And the box is only so big and you're fitting in there perfectly. But as you learn about yourself, as you experience things in life, as you grow physically, and you can no longer fit into that box. And so you must move to a new place. You must move to a new environment. We would be remiss if we were to say to ourselves, well, just because I am used to this box, just because I'm used to these things, just because I'm used to this life, I should stay here. What kind of life would you be living if you only stayed in places that you were comfortable in and didn't allow yourself to explore for the sake of growth? The fear of success is not only the fear of transformation, it's also the fear of the person that we need to become, and the fact that we might need to step away from certain things or people or habits or relationships in order to become the version of ourselves that is aligned with that success. When we talk about fearing success, we're also talking about fearing our own power. There's this quote that sums it up so beautifully. I'm going to read it to you guys. So it says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. We're born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." This quote beautifully sums it up for me, because there's something so beautiful about allowing yourself to step into your own power and to let your light shine. We have this almost like really weird and just toxic relationship with the idea of power. Funny enough, going back to the astrology of it all, Pluto also rules over power, which I think is a very taboo topic in our society. We're afraid to say that we want to be in positions of power. Like, I literally remember I was like on this date one time and I told this guy, I was like, I want to be in positions of power in my life. I always want to feel empowered. I want to have and feel powerful. And he was kind of taken aback by it, because I think a lot of times when we talk about power, there is almost this fear that if we amass too much power as an individual, we will commit harm with that power. It's kind of similar, the idea of money and abundance of resources. And this is something I'll talk about in another video, but I think there's like a very unconscious fear of having resources that keeps a lot of us stagnant in our mindset and also the way that we operate in this world. We think about people that are rich or people that are in positions of power and we think, oh, well, they're bad, right? The people that have positions of power within the political realm, they're not doing anything good with it. So why would I then want to be empowered and have power in my own life if I feel like the people that are in positions of power are not doing good with it? It's kind of like you're going at war with yourself, because there's a version of you that recognizes recognizes what you can do with power, but there's also a version of you that is afraid of what you can do with power because you know that power is powerful. But that's the thing about success, is that you have to be able to tap into your own power and not be afraid of it. Yes, you can be in a position of power or have an abundance of resources and do negative things with it, but you can also be in amazing positions of power and have an abundance of resources and be able to give back to your community, to be able to help people who are not in those positions of power. And so it's about asking yourself, what is it that I actually want to do? One thing that I find really helpful with this particular situation or mindset shift, if you will, is recognizing where there are people in positions of power that have similar values as myself and that are doing good. I allow myself to see more of that. In our media, we really highlight a lot of negativity and we highlight a lot of pain and a lot of bad things that are happening. And obviously I know that there are bad things happening in the world and they should have light shed upon them so that we are all aware. However, I think the media is really good at dramatizing and almost pushing out the negativity to an abundant degree in order to put us all in a fear and scarcity mindset. I work in marketing, and one of the things that you learn about marketing is that pain sells. People are actually more motivated by pain than they are by pleasure. It's the way that our brains are wired. But instead of us seeing the media and seeing the pain and seeing the way that people in power could be inflicting negativity upon the world, I think it's really powerful to look at the other side and see where there are people in positions of power doing amazing things so that you can feel empowered to step into your own power. Because success, oftentimes, when a lot of us define it down to score, is you being in some sort of position of power or being empowered in your own life in some way. Let's talk about how we can overcome this fear of success. The first step to overcoming the fear of success, the first step with anything, honestly, is self-awareness. I love to talk about this all the time because I feel like we need to all be more self-aware. So self-awareness is really important because you are literally taking a mirror and holding it up to yourself, holding it up to your soul, holding it up to your mindset and saying, what do I see right now? Who am I being? What am I doing? And what is it that I need to change? When you have those moments where you are self-sabotaging, when you have those moments where you are, sitting within the scarcity mindset or sitting within a place of feeling disempowered and identifying with that disempowered and disenfranchised version of yourself, it's really important to recognize that that is not you at your highest self and your highest being. You are so full of potential, so full of energy, so full of life, and there's so much that you can do, but you have to recognize it within yourself. The world is never going to recognize you as anything or as being anyone that is worthy of anything if you yourself don't see it first. So self-awareness allows us to hold that mirror up and truly, truly, truly dig deep to understand what it is that we're thinking, not just about ourselves, but also about our situation and how it is we're talking to ourselves on a consistent basis. How is it that we're thinking our situation may or may not change? And what are the stories that we're telling ourselves? Because whatever we're telling ourselves on a consistent basis becomes our reality. And self-awareness is a tool that allows you to be able to tap in and see clearly, hopefully clearly, what it is you're telling yourself on a daily basis. Once you start to become self-aware of the times where you are self-sabotaging or the habits that are not aligned with your success or the things that you are afraid of, I think it's important to then start to shift your mindset. If you recognize that your fear of success is really linked to the fear of transformation and the fear of change, how can you start to adopt more change and more areas of transformation in your life on a day-to-day basis? It doesn't have to be big. You can literally start very small. It can be as simple as going to a new coffee shop and trying something new, or going to your favorite coffee shop and trying a new item on the menu. It can be as simple as making a friend who has a different perspective or who has a different background as yourself, so you allow your worldview and your perspective to expand. It can be something as simple as reading a book outside of a genre that you are used to and allowing your worldview to expand in that way. So change can start very small. It doesn't have to be this big grand gesture where you're completely, switching up your entire wardrobe and your entire life overnight. It can be on a very small basis. The more you get comfortable with dipping your toe into into that discomfort water and experiencing something that's outside of your comfort zone and outside of what you're used to, the more you realize how much you actually grow and how much you can really see of the world and experience when you do that. And it becomes this thing where you kind of get addicted to the feeling of trying something new, addicted to the feeling of putting yourself outside of your comfort zone, and you stop fearing change and you start seeing it as an opportunity for growth. Another thing that's helped me when it comes to fear of success is just setting goals and expectations for myself and having a support system or accountability buddy to tap into. When you think about that version of yourself that is successful, what kind of life do they live? What are they doing on a day-to-day basis in the morning? What are they having for their lunches? What kind of conversations are they having? What kind of media are they consuming? What are they doing, right? And how can you start to align your life and your reality with that person? In order for you to set the goals that are aligned with success for yourself, you have to have an understanding, a clear understanding, I should say, of what success looks like to you. We're all sold this story that success is the money, the houses, the cars, the kids, the family life. It looks a certain way. But the thing about it is that you get to define what success looks like and means to you. It doesn't have to be that way. For you, success means having the time freedom to backpack across the world and travel all the time, then that's what success means to you. So how do you create a life, or how do you begin creating a life where you're able to get one step closer to living that dream and manifesting success? Other part of it is we also have to understand that it's okay to redefine success at any point in our lives. Sometimes I think we go into it thinking whatever we define success as when we're 20 years old has to be the same as how we define success when you're 30. There are literally 10 years in between 20 years old and 30. I just turned 30. And 20-year-old version of myself was so different, also very similar, but also very different in terms of what she wanted and where she wanted to live and how she saw the world. And also because I've amassed so many different experiences over the last 10 years of my life, I've been able to change and shift my definition of success based on what I've learned. There are things that I thought I wanted and that I got, and I realized I actually don't like this. And that's a learning experience in and of itself. So if you feel like you're shifting too much in terms of what you want, don't let anyone ever tell you that. You're allowed to wake up every single day and redefine what you want, redefine who you want to be. Obviously, there is something to be said about consistency, right? So if you ever want to get anywhere in life, you're going to have to stick with something long enough to see the benefits. And I think switching things too often, it's actually another sign of self-sabotage, because that could just mean that you're so afraid of sticking with one thing and being consistent enough to see the results and rewards that you just change so often. But I also think that there should be something said about allowing yourself to be flexible, allowing yourself to shift your expectations and your goals as you learn more about your world and yourself. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. I don't know if this is something that you feel like you're dealing with on a personal level, but if you are, comment down below. Let me know if this video was helpful at all. And I want to have more conversations about this fear of success because, I've definitely achieved a lot of things I'm proud of in my life, but I also recognize the places and the areas in my life where I still struggle with the procrastination or the self-sabotage, where I still allow the imposter syndrome to make me think that I'm not good enough or I can't be good enough. And a lot of it, again, is that self-awareness and allowing yourself to expand your mindset and fight back and to be like, no, I am good enough. No, I do have the power. Like, we're all so incredibly powerful, and we have the ability to literally do and be anything that we want in this world. And there's something so sinister about this idea that a lot of us are fed, that we need to have a limit. We can only make so much money. We can only, have so much time freedom. We can only have so much of this or so much of that. And I feel like we need to really understand that we are all so capable of having so much. And again, abundance doesn't always mean abundance of money. It can be an abundance of anything that you want to experience in this life, because this is a place where you get to create. And I understand that everyone's privileged in a different way, some more privileged in certain areas than others, but don't ever discount yourself or don't ever discount your experience because you don't have certain things that other people have that you wish you do. You have every single thing that you need to achieve the vision that you've always had. And I believe that because we all have so many different visions. Like, my vision of success is going to be very different than yours. It's very different than your friends. We're all given the tools that we need at any given point in time to take the next step. So what does that next step look like for you? I want you to comment down below and let me know. Anyways, my loves, thank you so much for watching this video. This is literally the second time I'm filming this because the first time I was completely out of focus. I talked for like 30 minutes and then I went to export the footage and I was completely out of focus the entire time. So I love that for me. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will put anything in the comments that I may have missed between the first time filming this and the second time. But thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up, share with a friend who might need or enjoy or love this kind of information, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.